Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is the Adidas D 773 2020. Super long name, I know. This shoe is retailing for 70 bucks, which is very cheap, but it's available on Amazon for 55, 56 bucks depending on the size. It's kind of weird. So I don't know why it's already on sale. This shoe just came out in the US. Maybe it was out in like Europe or Asia or whatever. That's how it is usually. Like the Dawn issue 2 is already out in China for some reason. But then in the US, it's supposed to come out in like 3 months, which is, I don't know why they do that. But if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. This is just a first impressions overview. So let's get it started off with the traction. And the traction looks pretty damn familiar, right? They're using some herringbone, which is pretty nice. This shoe looks very similar as well. Like, let me see. I don't know. Does it look familiar? Does it look like a shoe that we already saw before? Yes. The Pro Vision. This came out last year. Look at what they did, and they did the exact same traction pattern, the exact same midsole, the exact same kind of like overall silhouette. They just kind of changed the upper a little bit. And the Pro Vision wasn't bad. This shoe was 100 bucks though. This shoe was like very expensive, and this is like D Rose's shoe, like a signature athlete. Even though the 773 is more like his cheaper shoe, like his budget line, it's still D Rose. Why would they make this 100 bucks in this? Anyways, I don't know, but pricing is kind of interesting when you look at this. But yeah, the traction, so this is an example of an Adidas traction that I absolutely hated, like the Marquee Boost, the Pro Vision. I'm trying to think, the next levels were horrible. I don't know why. Remember the Crazy Light Boost? The Crazy Light Boost 2016 and the 2017, I think? They were both incredible. Like top tier tractions. I believe that year it was like top 3, top 5 tractions of that year. But then they came out with this, like you see this, and it's just like, oh, it's herringbone. Like it seems very good, and even this gum outsole seems very good. But then it's just something about this rubber compound with dust that, like, if there's a little too much dust on it and it picks up dust pretty quickly, it's a really dangerous. Like, you hear that? It's very high pitched and just like doesn't grip. You slip out and it's super dangerous. That was my experience with the Pro Vision. Hopefully, like, they changed up the rubber compound on this, because obviously they kept the outsole pattern the exact same. I don't know, because I doubt it, because I tried the Pro Visions on my wood floors and also the 773 2020, and it felt literally exactly the same. So as far as the traction performance goes, so yeah, not looking too good for the D Roses. And as far as the hardness of the rubber, it's pretty hard. It's definitely not the hardest rubber I've ever felt, but it's kind of hard to move, right? If you see from the close-up shot, it's not easily moved. So the rubber is pretty hard, and I feel like outdoor you should be okay. And then here in the middle of the shoe, it says designed in Adidas Brooklyn Creator Farm, and there's some like coordinates. And then moving on to the heel to toe transition. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, there is a pretty nice curved shape. It's a rounded shape here in the heel, and a little bit of heel compression as well. So it's not super clunky or anything in the heel. The forefoot though is absolutely flat. Look at that. Look at how much it comes up. Now, I'll get another shoe. Let's take like the Precisions for example. You see the forefoot? Look at that. Like, look at how much that goes up. Like, that's a lot of curve. That's what you want, right? Or that's what I want. That's what I like personally. I'm sure there's people that don't mind this like flat shape, but I really don't like it, because like it's a floor slapper. Like when you're jogging or running down the court, it just like slaps. This one, it's more just like a really curved, smooth shape, so it just like it rocks a little bit easier, you know? But one thing that helps it is that there's a lot of forefoot flex, so it doesn't make it super boot-like, you know, like the Jordan 12 for example. So I mean, it's okay, it feels like, but I just don't like how flat it is in the forefoot. That's just me. And moving on to the cushioning system, they're using a full-length bounce midsole. It doesn't really say bounce anywhere on the midsole, but it is bounce. And it does protrude out here in the heel just a little bit, so you get a little bit more compression in the heel. It feels pretty nice. It looks very thick and chunky, but it's not. Like the core feel is actually pretty insane. You feel very, very low to the ground. All of this here on the sides, like here on the lateral and medial side, it's just coming up as like a sidewall. So that's just like, it's literally, it's not this thick, guys. It's actually probably like around this thick. And it's okay, you know. There's a little bit of heel compression because of how thin it is. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be like super bouncy or anything like crazy nice. I feel like they just want to go for something more responsive and a little bit more just like lower to the ground, right? Which I'm not mad at. And of course here in the forefoot, it doesn't really feel like there's anything. If you look here in the insole is absolutely trash. They're using their patented Adidas paper stock insole. This is literally one of the worst insoles that I've ever seen. Like super bad. It's not even as bad as like this $70 shoe from Nike. They're using like an Orsolite insole, which feels a lot nicer than in this shoe than in the D Roses. But I guess they make up for it with a better midsole cushioning, right? And if you look at the stroke board, they're using a super stiff stroke board, so you can feel how stiff it is with your finger. So cushioning is alright. And then as far as the material goes, it's actually a lot better than the Pro Visions. The Pro Vision, they use like a synthetic suede material here in the toe, which wasn't bad. It was thin and all that, but overall I kind of like this knit material that they use here in the D-Rose 773 2020. Super long name. So it's around medium thickness, like not super thin, not super thick. It is very soft. It conforms to your foot very well. There's not a lot of stretch to it, although I do think it's going to stretch out over time once you break it in. Here on the sides of the toe area, you have some synthetic fuse, and then going around the midfoot and in the heel, you have like some really cheap synthetic leather material going around like the perimeter of the midsole. And then here in the midfoot area, stretching all the way into the ankle area, you have some airy mesh with an Adidas logo, which is kind of hard to see through this well ventilated mesh. And then here in the heel area, we also have some synthetic leather that's actually attached to this heel, so it acts like a heel tab. It's super easy to slide your foot into the shoe, and you have like this kind of ankle sleeve thing, and it's very comfortable. It's basically like a sweater cuff. You know, that's the type of material that they're using. The tongue is also really nice. It has a good amount of padding. It feels very comfortable. It is an independent tongue though, so it's not really attached to anything. It's not like a half booty tongue. So I am kind of worried that this tongue is gonna move around a little bit when I start playing in it. And then for the eyelets are also something that I'm worried about because it reminds me of the D-Rose 8. Remember the D-Rose 8 had similar eyelets with like this really thin string? And mine ripped off and I had to return mine. So that's something that I am worried about. I wish they would make it a little bit thicker or just make it so that it goes through the actual upper. You know what I'm saying? But there's that. And then here in the ankle area, there is a little bit of padding. More just like towards the back here. Like here on the sides and on top of the ankle, it's not as padded, but like once you go down into the shoe, it's a lot more padded here in this area. So that feels pretty nice. So the overall material choice for a $70 shoe, but like now it's 55 bucks. This is actually really, really nice and feels great on foot, comfortable and all that. As far as the fit goes, the fit is ridiculously long. So go down half a size from your Adidas size, and look, you guys see this? You guys see how it dips in and then comes up again here in the toe? There's so much toe space right here, and that's just the thing that I just hate to have, is a lot of toe space right here. And it just doesn't feel good. I'll probably put in another insole in or double sock, which that's a pretty easy fix, but you know that does ruin like the court feel a little bit, so I don't really like doing that all too much. And as far as the width goes, I would say it's a little wide. So if you have a wide, thick foot, or you like a roomy fit in your shoes, then this is probably gonna be a good option for you guys. All right, supporting lockdown, obviously I don't know, but I think it's gonna be good because as you guys can see, the foam comes up a lot on the and acts like a sidewall or like a lateral cage. So I feel like lateral containment is gonna be good. And if you guys see how freaking wide this shoe is, like there's really no outrigger, like the rubber doesn't like protrude out, but like the entire midsole, look at that. So I don't think there's gonna be any issues, like look at how flat it is too, so there's probably not gonna be any issues with lateral instability or anything like that. As far as the weight goes, I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be kind of heavy. 12.63 ounces. That's like average. And this shoe doesn't feel super heavy or anything. I just hate how Adidas makes their like midsoles so chunky. You know, like Nike, they make it so like more minimal. You know, it's not as chunky. This is like way chunkier, especially here in the heel. You guys see that comparing it to this shoe? I'm not saying all of Nike shoes are like this and all Adidas shoes are like this, but like most Adidas shoes are very, very chunky in the midsole, right? All right, as far as the aesthetics go, the aesthetics are kind of dope though. This looks pretty good, and I also really liked how the Provisions looked. You know, it's different. It's pretty out there, but you know, this colorway is also pretty dope. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So as far as the first impressions go, I mean, for 55 bucks right now, this is looking pretty good, right? There's just a few things, or actually a good amount of things I don't like right now. Like the fit isn't great for me. The cushion isn't the best either. I mean, it's probably something that I could live with. And then just how flat it is, I just absolutely don't like this. Like, does this bother you guys, or is it just me? I feel like I don't know. Tell us down in the comment section below. And also the traction is something that I'm super worried about as well. Hopefully it's very different from the Provisions. But anyways, for 55 bucks though, it's looking like a pretty good deal because you're getting full length bounce and this pretty nice material. Like this material, I would say would belong on like a $120 shoe. As far as the quality and the tech that you're getting from the shoe, I would definitely say if you want, you should go get it. But I don't know on performance yet. That's gonna have to wait for the performance review. Again, if you guys want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.